Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Matthew, Watty's channel. Back in the game room today for another special episode, kind of like a shout-out video of sorts. This video is going to shout out some of the last four figures that I needed to complete the Ram Treasures collection. Now, as you guys know, Ram Treasures, they generally come out with a new figure once a month, once every couple months, etc. So we will always have new figures from them, I think. I kind of feel like if I had these four figures during the last My Favorite Ram Treasures figure tournament, either one or even two of these figures could have potentially won the entire tournament. And with the other figures tossed in, there's a good chance some of the outcomes would have been severely different than what we saw. So I'm not disappointed that I did that tournament already, but I am disappointed that I'm going to have to wait a whole entire year before I knock out my next tournament. So at this point, I'm probably looking at December of next year to complete the second annual My Favorite Ram Treasures tournament. And but like I said, guys, again, the last batch I received 7 figures. This batch I got the last 4 figures that I needed. And is there any more from Ram Treasures? I kind of feel like because they're always making Series 5 figures of Hulk Hogan, that there's always something I'm missing. So I got the Rip Thomas version. We've already seen the Series 5 remake where where Hulk Hogan isn't wearing a shirt. And you know what? They also have a white shirt made in America. I don't have that one. But am I really going to classify that as part of this group? I really should. So I guess I'm missing one technically, but nah. For the sake of argument, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to include that figure. But again, before we get into the main part of this video, kind of an interesting email today, which I find ridiculous. I get a message from eBay stating that I guess my selling limits or my selling capabilities is below their threshold. So they threatened to either delete my account or at the very least reduce my selling capabilities. And I swear to God, I'm going to start diving into the what happened to eBay videos again, because that company is just so absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, guys, look, the only thing I can do as a seller is list the item. I could take accurate photos, get as much of the angles as possible, give a full description, list it for a price I want, and just basically wait. If I list 100 items and, a month later, out of those 100 items, the most views I have is 5 on any particular listing, I can't control that. I can't make somebody buy from me, right? So to kind of say, well, you're selling below the threshold, I don't know what eBay expects of me or any person on this planet that sells on that platform. And to be honest, the last several months, I've made more sales and a ton more money selling on Mercari than selling on eBay. So, you know what? If the company wants to act a fool like that, I think I might just have to move on to Mercari full time and not even mess with eBay at all. But enough of that. Let's get into the threshold. What the part of this video. The final 4 figures from Ram Treasures. I probably should have opened these beforehand. I didn't, but that's okay. Kind of like an unboxing with you guys. So, in the My Favorite Ram Treasures tournament, we talked about the Hulk Hogan figure. Now, we know LJN back in 1987, 1988, with Series 5, produced 2 figures of Hulk Hogan. Both commemorative pieces, different than what you saw in the Series 1 Hogan. And they came out with the red shirt Hulk Hogan, they came out with the white shirt Hogan. Both of those figures were re-released in 1989 on the Black Card series, just like pretty much half the LJN figures at that time. So, Ram Treasures, they have a habit of taking the Series 5 Hulk Hogan and just giving it a new paint job and creating all these different figures. I've talked about the white shirt made in America Hulk Hogan. We talked about the no holds barred Rip Thomas Hulk Hogan, where he has the blue shirt with Rip 'em on there. And they basically reproduced that figure without a shirt. But they also came out shortly thereafter with a alternate version of an early 1980s New Japan Pro Wrestling Hulk Hogan. And the glossiness and the colors of this figure is fantastic. Interesting thing, back in January, I actually bought this same or similar figure from Eric Boyer, Wrestling Writer. And he used a Series 1 Hulk Hogan. You've already got one of the most perfect figures ever. New head mold, gave him the same color scheme, looked phenomenal. But I bought it in January. I'm still waiting for that figure to come in, with a group of other figures. So we'll see how much longer I got to wait for that one. But I'm supposed to get a new bundle shortly, probably by the early New Year. So, but I want to say around May or maybe even June, they released the New Japan Pro Wrestling Hulk Hogan figure. So I do like the fact that they use dual colors in his early 1980s gear, which is fantastic. And hopefully you guys can still make this out. Kind of sucks because the lights are literally right above my head. Yet when I look at it in the camera, it doesn't look like it's really shown that well. But look at the head sculpt. That is amazing. Early Hulk Hogan hair. No noticeable bald spot at the top. And I've always said that WWF or North American wrestling in general, I guess, really dialed Hulk Hogan down. Because when you think of Hulk Hogan nowadays, he's a puncher, he's a rake across the back, he's a boot to the face, and he's a leg drop guy. And you think that the man has absolutely no tools in his case, right? But then you watch old footage of him wrestle in Japan, and he's got like nice amateur move. When you think amateur wrestling, you think of like high school wrestling with the mat on the floor and little holds and takedowns and stuff. Hulk Hogan was an amazing talent in Japan, and there's a reason he is one of the most well-known names, not only in the United States but across the planet. He just had fantastic techniques, but again, he comes to WWF, later WCW, and he's completely dialed down from his early days. So, figure is absolutely amazing. I think they did a great job with this figure. Again, having so many of Hulk Hogan, especially with this pose, if they had come out with a completely different Hulk Hogan mold, this would have been exceptional. I already know this figure would not have won my tournament, but I feel like he could have knocked out some really good figures and probably progressed to a second or even a third round. So, awesome figure. Glad to have it. Would have loved it for a little bit better price, but, I'm still good with what I have. And the good thing about this, you feel the arms and the chest and legs. It's got really solid rubber. So, when I talk about, and I always go to Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is like my go-to figure when talking about Ram Treasures and talking about poorly made figures. Because the rubber is so thin, and I kind of showed you on video, and I kind of like barely moved the arm, and the rubber started breaking. Very poorly made. But this figure is very well done, and I got to give credit where credit is due. Ram Treasures did a fantastic job molding the figure, and paint job always on point. Alright, so a figure that I felt like could potentially have won my entire tournament if he was part of said tournament. And this is one of those figures that the very second you see it on Ram Treasure's website, you would immediately go in and purchase it. But I never did. Now, why did I wait probably a year, or I don't know when this came out, late last year, or if it came out early 2023, I don't remember, but why would I wait so long to purchase this figure? In a nutshell, from Wrestling Writer, I purchased a very similar figure from him. And because, he's bundling all my figures together, there are figures that I bought in January, February. There are figures I bought in, May of 2022 that I'm still waiting on. So, I decided to bite the bullet and go purchase this figure from Ram Treasures because I really wanted him for the collection. That, and I really wanted to complete the Ram Treasures part as well. And like I said, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, one of the biggest WWF legends ever, and an absolutely gorgeous looking piece. I absolutely love this one. And because I had this particular figure, or this particular character I should say, Hasbro Series 4, this look is very reminiscent, and that just adds to the nostalgia. Undertaker is finally added to the collection. Now, I say that this could potentially have won my entire tournament. Exaggeration. Not really an exaggeration, but maybe not. The right arm out. Awesome for choke slam. I think he would have a beautiful underarm body slam. Yeah, so, over the top body slam. Beautiful. With the left arm being much further down, you really can't do anything with that. So this is kind of like the British Bulldogs LJN. Or, I don't know, your Bad News Brown. One arm down while the other arm is way up. So maybe if you were a kid and you had this during the LJN era, it wouldn't serve as much of a playability for me. I really love the glossiness. And like I said, Undertaker in gray. I had the Series 4 Hasbro figure, one of the greatest Hasbro figures ever made, and one of my most played with action figures from childhood, so it definitely adds to the nostalgia. And if I can get this piece out, and, you just top it off with a Billy Jack Haynes hat. You just swap out the green color with black. It fits nicely to the head, so it bleeds in beautifully. You wouldn't even notice that wasn't even part of his original design. So, absolutely love Undertaker. Again, how would I classify my favorite wrestlers? I think it would probably come down to Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man. That's always going to be 1 through 3, no doubt. Probably Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. So, yeah, my number 6 all-time favorite wrestler. I think he deserves much higher. One of the only men to go like 2 decades without being defeated at a WrestleMania. I think up until like his last match or something. I heard he lost. Who did he face? Like Brock Lesnar or someone? I don't know. I haven't watched wrestling on live TV or live events in like 20 plus years. So, but still, Undertaker. Beautiful figure all around. And again, you're just sitting here, you're feeling on the rubber, and nice hard rubber, beautiful. I think this would bleed in beautifully with the original LJNs. So, the one, just kind of looking this over, the one downside, and immediately, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but like right here in the hand, the paint is already chipping. And I just took this out of the box for the first time. So that kind of sucks. But still, literally one of the most important pieces that Ram Treasures has ever come out with. And overall quality is definitely there. So we move on to number 3. So I got to take out some accessories. Alright, so one of the most fun managers from childhood. And you can't have The Undertaker without Paul Bearer. So I've talked about wanting to wait until... Hopefully this fits. It doesn't fit. It's okay. The urn, I feel like, would fall out of his hand very easily. But if you've got this figure sitting stationary on your shelf, the urn shouldn't go anywhere. But I've talked about wanting to do a My Favorite Manager tournament. Just like any other tournament I've made. Oh, there goes the urn. I've talked about you really can't use your favorite character in particular. It's always going to be a figure tournament first. So, my favorite figure isn't going to necessarily be, or my favorite manager. It's going to be the best figure from the lot. And I really been holding off on doing the My Favorite Manager tournament until I receive Paul Baron. And this one is fantastic. He gives you an Addams Family look to it. Who is the new actor that plays the father? I think it's Louis. I know the actor from Oz, and he now plays the father in the Netflix series Wednesday. So Paul Bearer, when I look at him, that's exactly who I think about. What is that man's name? It's killing me. But anyways, nice fluffiness around the figure. And here's the thing is, I look at this, I'm like, you know what? This is just like another Mean Gene Okerlund type. I kind of feel like all managers are based on the Mean Gene body type. Even though Paul Bearer was like way heftier than Mean Gene. The pose ain't great. I'm not ever crazy about the finger pointer. And of course, the hand is kind of necessary because, he did this exact move, kind of like, especially when holding up the urn. And the urn basically was giving Undertaker his power. I used to love that gimmick back in the day. And then they did away with it, and the Undertaker became like a biker and just all this other stupid stuff. I'm like, nah. Old school Undertaker, that man will always mean the world to me. Paul Bearer, though, again, if LJN was ongoing, 1990, 91, 92, yeah, guys like The Undertaker and Paul Bearer would have definitely been made. You would have had to. I mean, you had Elizabeth with Macho Man, right? You got Mr. Fuji with like Powers of Pain and Demolition, etc. So it makes sense adding guys like that. Bobby Heenan in the Heenan stable, the Heenan family, of course, necessary characters. Jimmy Hart, necessary character. But if Vince McMahon got a figure, and if Mean Gene Okerlund got, you would have seen Paul Bearer at some point. So it's really disappointing that there's certain characters that you would have loved to have seen, especially when they did come in to wrestling in the 89-90 time frame. So I'm going to try to slide this urn back into his hand, and hopefully it stays. But just one more quick glance at the figure. Alright. So, Undertaker, I said, was a potential candidate to win the entire tournament had he been a part of the original My Favorite Random Treasures tournament. Potential is there, sure. Would he have been a guaranteed spot? Just kind of looking at it now, I don't think so. But I do have one more accessory here, so one more item. I have no idea how I'm going to display this, so I should have done this beforehand. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, this is going to look really shady. But I'm going to try and do this to the best of my ability here. Yeah. So far I'm not liking the way it's coming out. I'll have to look at the picture and see how they properly wrap this around. But you guys will get the idea. Mr. T. I'm sorry I killed the chain. Again, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with it, but Mr. T, essentially, if you look at figures like Butch Reed or the Butch Reed 2-Up, or if you look at the Barbarian figure, this is basically the exact same figure. Exact same body type, exact same pose, everything is identical. Obviously, what they do is they just swap out the head. And I think, actually, Mr. T, I think his left arm might be a little bit further out than Barbarian. So, maybe they did slightly change this. And, you know what? That is actually a pretty nice chain. He's got like a little cross on here, and he also has a crown, so that's pretty awesome. But I'm going to look at the photo and see how they wrapped it around so that I can actually get it on there the right way. But this is, again, this could have potentially won the entire tournament. And this right here isn't blowing smoke. This is a legitimate front runner to win. Random Treasures did an absolutely impeccable job. I am in the process of watching WrestleMania 1. Now, a few days ago, I watched like the first hour plus, I don't know, 5 or 6 matches. And I left off on Big John Studd versus Andre the Giant. And even though that would be one match I'd be interested in watching, I just haven't been able to come back down here to watch, any more of that WrestleMania. But Andre versus Studd, and of course Hogan and Mr. T squaring off against Orton and Piper. I'm looking forward to those 2 matches in particularly. Mr. T, absolutely incredible. Mr. T had his own cereal back in the day, and I want to try that cereal. If like General Mills or someone could come out, or Kellogg's, whoever, comes out today and like wants to recreate that exact cereal and re-release it, I'm all for it, because I like those old school cereals that are like inspired by certain characters, certain athletes, etc. Now, something like Wheaties or whatnot, I mean, that's not really inspired by any particular. It's just new athletes that, new role models that they put on those boxes. Yeah, this is a really solid look all around. I mean, everything from the Go boots. I like that they give you dual colored strings. That's incredible. And there is a Mr. T figure I got from Raider Nation, but they use like a Tito Santana body pose with a Mr. T head. I only have 2 Mr. T LJNs, but I can still do a Who Did It Best. In my opinion, no doubt, Ram Treasures wins that battle. Fantastic piece. And I look at something like this, and I'm like, I'm inspired to, have fun with my wrestling figures and start some matches or something. That's the one good thing about buying figures that are like, that aren't expensive and are not pretty beat up. You want them to be in pretty good shape, pretty good color and all that. But if you buy something that has paint loss and stuff on it, you're not sitting there thinking, man, I gotta be careful wrestling these guys because I don't want to damage the figure. I don't want to damage the rubber. I don't want to chip the paint or, cause paint loss or paint bleed. So, why don't I wrestle my figures? Part of it is I simply don't remember the wrestling moves and whatnot. Part of it is I simply don't remember. I just can't have the same fun I did as I would as a child. And the other part is not wanting to damage what I paid a lot of money for. So it all bleeds in. But I'll give you guys the last look around here. Alright, so that is the last 4 pickups from Ram Treasures. And if we eliminate the Series 5 Hogan with white shirt and Made in America, which I'm not even going to count that. So at this point, I'm considering the Ram Treasures collection to be complete. So, and yeah. As new figures arrive, I'll obviously talk about them if necessary. But I don't generally like doing that. Not every time. There were a few figures in particular I made videos on because I wanted to talk about that for whatever reason. Like Zeus was a fantastic piece. I definitely wanted to jump on that one as quickly as possible when that one first came in. But Otherwise, I'll wait for like bundles of figures like this to come in, and then I'll do them all at once. Alright, so this video I'm hoping to have posted on Thursday, the 28th. Now, what is that? Is that the 28th? Yeah, that's the 28th. So, I might want to wait for my last video, which is the last Holy Grail video I made. So, if I don't post it on Thursday, I don't know. Thursday was the original game plan. So, if today is Thursday and you're watching this, I'm on schedule. If not, it just means I wanted to give the opportunity for more viewers to catch up on the other videos, or to get more views for the Holy Grail video, because I think that's one of my important ones. I really want people to enjoy that one. So, moving forward, I think the last video I want to make before this year closes out is probably going to be my new acquisitions of the next line I'm starting. That's going to be a long video. I could probably get down to 30 minutes, but I'm really expecting it to be more closer to an hour, for the simple fact that I probably got like 30 items carded coming in, probably another 20 loose figures. Obviously, there's certain bundles I bought, so that's why you got so many loose figures, etc. But from Bohemian Dream, Adam Mercer, I got a bunch of figures that came in from him a couple days ago, and you know, part of that is figures that I plan on recollecting. And I'll say it in the next video when I start talking about those figures. I had a ton of these figures earlier last year. You know, I bought them they came as part of a bundle with the wrestling ring I purchased. I wanted the ring, I didn't care about the figures, and I eventually started selling off those figures for like $25 for like a 6-pack. And you know, today you could buy one single figure for $25, so it just goes to show you that, you know, I really didn't understand or appreciate the value of the figures, and now it's something new to start collecting. At this point, I'm relatively complete with the carded LJNs. And Hasbro, I'm only down to 2 carded figures that I'm out on, so I don't know. I got to find something new to spark my interest. And so with the new acquisitions, obviously I've had to rearrange the room again. And I might have to do another room tour, kind of give you guys some updates as to how things have changed around the room. Yep, I did change that right there. So I put all the Black Card series together, so all 6 carded figures are together. And I just moved the Tales from the Crypt Keeper figures on top of them. And so I did go ahead and move the Mannix figures, and I pushed back those Remco style figures, you know, further back, and I just put some of the Mannix figures over there. Originally I had them over here with the bendies and thumb wrestlers, but nah, I'll pass on that. I really don't know what else small items I could put in those little slots, but I'm sure something will come up eventually. But guys, this video is hovering a little bit longer than I'm sure any of you guys would have liked, so I'm going to end the video here. You know, thank you so much for watching. Guys, I'm always looking for new subscribers, so if you guys like my stuff, and, you know, if you know anybody that would be interested in this, you know, please, you know, I appreciate the referrals. Generally, I don't like to, you know, do what everybody else does, and like, hey, please comment, subscribe, because to me, I feel like I'm pressuring somebody if I do that. I want people to be able to enjoy my stuff and subscribe on their own accord. But, you know, I'm just like anybody else, I'm trying to get to 1,000. You know, I think that's like the magic number. So, you know, every time I kind of look at my new video and see that subscriber count goes down, you know, went down, it's very demoralizing. So, you know, I'm always trying to look for new interested viewers and whatnot. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will keep you posted with any new updates until the next video. Talk to you guys later.